Hello everyone at B2 Camp Oxon. I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but as you can see, I'm at the, what's it called? I'm in a wonderful green space in the middle of the city of London, and it's the, was it called the Household Artillery Company, or I can't remember. Anyway, you can tweet me later. All right. Claire asked me to send you a little video, and I've got some notes here, and I know you're all talking about success today, so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you my 5 steps for success related to how my consultancy business has gone in the last 5 years. I set up the consultancy in 2011, and we've grown in turnover by about 25% every year, with some steps more than that. In that time, we've maintained profitability at about 75%. Most years as well, and I know a lot of people who have tried to do this haven't been successful, so I thought I'd think about the 5 things that I would say I would advise you on. So the first is to start small. I was a practice manager at an architect's practice when I began, and I just worked on my own computer at home, with no overheads. I didn't buy any new equipment at all for the first 6 months. I didn't take out any loans, and I kept costs down, right down to 25% of turnover in the first year, including all the travel and everything, marketing and other things I could do. I always looked at low or no cost ways of keeping the business going, and you need to have a 6-month plan with targets, and say at the end of 6 months I want to be, I've been told to get off the grass. At the end of 6 months, I want to be in this position, and this is what I'm going to do, and keep reviewing it. Okay, number 2 is to find your niche. What do you have that no one else has? What do you do that's unique? And if you can't think of something unique, how can you make it unique? What is it that you do that's going to be different from anyone else? Now, for me, I only work in the construction industry, and I began being a social media specialist, but the unique thing was that I only worked in the construction industry, and that was my first unique thing. And then later on I learned from Nick Pawley, who recommended I read a book about being a consultant, not a contractor, and decided I agreed with that. People buy my expertise, not my tweeting. Although I do tweet today, I am tweeting an event, but that's not actually where I make my money. I make my money by selling my expertise, and that also makes me unique, because my expertise in understanding how to sell to architects is actually what most of my paying clients are interested in. So what's your niche? And then thirdly, you need to use your network. Now, we can all work in small ways. I don't have any employees apart from now. We're incorporated, myself and my husband. But the reason why we can stay small is because we're connected, and that means that we can take advantage of the networks that we have. But it's very important not to overstay your welcome. And the people I know in business who've only relied on their networks that they had already, the people they know selling to their friends and all that sort of thing, those people really don't survive for more than 18 months in business. They often end up going back into employees, in an employee situation. So what I did was I used what I could, including my tweeting, to get in front of people for free. And that helped me get to know new people and understand also a lot more about who I could work with and who would be willing to pay me. And the other thing I always did about using your network was always to pay the people you owe immediately. All my subcontractors get paid within 7 days or straight away on the day that they invoice. And that means that I can say I don't take credit and I don't give credit. And that's always applied in the business. So that's use your network, but use it fairly equitably. And then the fourth thing is that free is not free. And people will always ask you to do things for nothing. Oh, come on, you do this all the time. You know, it's very good to raise your profile. And you can all read, and same with professional speaking. Some people will speak for nothing, so therefore you should speak for nothing too. Well, I just think that's rubbish, because you have to know what you're worth. And of course, therefore, you have to get used to saying no. And saying no is actually quite difficult. I've worked for people who had a pathological fear of saying no. So you need to identify who are the people who will pay you for what you do. And it doesn't mean that you can't do things for nothing. And I do things for nothing all the time. I've been involved with B2 Camp for nothing for, at least 6-7 years now, maybe 8 years. But you need to think about other forms of remuneration as well as money. And what that means is, if you can't be paid to do something, then there has to be something else in it for you. And if that means getting in front of a different audience, if that means you can, if you wrote a book, you can sell a book now. I've never written a book, and that's for reasons of cost and time and cost benefit calculations, but whatever it is that you also want to achieve, if it's to meet people, to raise your visibility, you have to make sure, are they the right people that I'm going to meet? Are they the people who are going to pay me to do things? Am I going to make money out of this in the longer term? And is that realistic? So free is not ever free. There's always a cost. The question is what you're going to get. And then lastly, I want to encourage you to think strategically. What are you doing that actually is making you money? And if it's not making you money, is it making you opportunities? You need to do more of the things that are making you money, and offload the stuff that isn't. And always think about how you can make yourself more efficient. So, for example, after 3 years, I took on my PA, Susie Warren, and she's a virtual assistant. I pay her by the hour. If I don't need her, I don't pay her, and she has other clients. She's subcontracted to me to do things, and we tried it out and it worked, and gradually she's done more and more work for me, and that's been really successful. And in that year, my turnover went up 40%, because in the following 6 months compared to the previous year. And the reason for that was because I could give all the things that weren't cost efficient for me to do to her to do, like running a diary and making appointments and getting people to agree to things and chasing people up and all those things. So always look at new ways to be efficient. And the other thing we did last year, we incorporated and registered for VAT. And again, it was a business decision. It made financial sense. It wasn't a vanity project. And I know a lot of people who register for VAT straight away because they think it's a good idea. Well, I think you need to make all these decisions when you need to, and concentrate on constantly becoming better and more efficient. And that's... And for me, that's meant more outsourcing. So now I'm outsourcing copywriting, I'm outsourcing admin, I'm outsourcing analytics, and I'm looking for other people to work with so that I can do the bit that I do, the consultancy and the advice, more efficiently, and give the outcomes of that to other people, so we can both benefit. So that's think strategically. So my 5 points are: start small, no overheads. Find your niche, be unique. Use your network, but don't take advantage of it. Free is never free, so what is the benefit to you? And think strategically, because that's where you'll get a good business. Okay, so I hope you're having a fantastic time, and I hope this video uploads and you can all see it. Have a lovely time in Didcot, and hopefully I'll see you next year, or I'll see you somewhere else in between. Take care. Bye-bye.